one of the most famous temples in Angkor. The Prohn is known for the huge trees and the massive roots growing out of its walls. The Tomb Raider movie. The Jungle Temple also featured in the adventure movie The Tomb Raider. Several shots were filmed in the Prohn. Left in overgrown state. The temple was intentionally left in much the same way as it was when Henry Marshall, curator and conservator of the EFEO, did some basic clearing work in 1920. Only the most necessary work to prevent further deterioration and collapse was done. The attractive jungle setting and the original state of the temple has made it one of the most visited Angkor temples. Lately, things have changed at the Prohn. To protect the temple from growing roots damaging the structure, and from the danger of falling trees destroying the monument, a number of trees have been removed and restoration works have been carried out. Buddhist temple. The Prohn was built during the last decades of the 12th century by King Jayavarman VII. Where the older Angkor temples were Hindu temples dedicated to Shiva and Vishnu, the Prohn is a Buddhist temple, as King Jayavarman VII was a follower of Mahayana Buddhism. The king dedicated the temple to his mother. The stele of the Prohn. A lot of knowledge about the Prohn is gained from the stone stele dated 1186, written in ancient Sanskrit language, that was found in the temple. The stele praises King Jayavarman VII, Lokeshvara, Prajnaparamita, and the three jewels of Buddhism, namely the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Detailed info on the stele. It contains a list of all products used for religious ceremonies and lists the number of villages, priests, and dancers that were to serve the temple. The stele also mentions that at the time there were 102 hospitals spread over the Khmer Empire, and a list of items that each hospital was to keep in stock. The stele then cites that there were 121 rest houses spread over the empire, along the major routes from Angkor to places as far away as Phai Mai in Thailand or the Kingdom of Champa in present-day Vietnam. Layout of the Prohn Temple Complex. The Prohn's fifth enclosure, which is the most outer one, is more than 1 kilometer long and 600 meters wide. The large gopuras were decorated with large faces of Lokeshvara in all 4 directions, similar to those of the Bayon. Lokeshvara is a bodhisattva representing the compassion of the Buddha. Only the western gate is well preserved. Rest house for pilgrims. From the main eastern entrance, a 350-meter-long path leads to a terrace with guardian lions and Naga balustrades that crosses the moat. In front of the terrace is a rest house for pilgrims visiting the temple. According to inscriptions of the temple's stele, thousands of men and women who were attached to the Prohn temple as priests, dancers, or servants lived within the 5th enclosure. The 4th enclosure with the Hall of Dancers. The east gate of the 4th enclosure contains depictions of several Buddhist scenes. The faces of most images of the Buddha were destroyed halfway through the 13th century when King Jayavarman VIII reinstated Shaivism as the official religion. Only a few have survived, maybe because they were mistaken for a Hindu figure. The 4th enclosure, that measures just 110 meters by 100 meters, contains a moat surrounding the temple. Inside the walls of the enclosure are 93 small cells for the Buddhist monks of the temple. On the east end of the temple, which is the main entrance, is a structure called the Hall of Dancers. It got its name from the many dancing Apsara figures that decorate the structure. Buddhist scenes of the 3rd enclosure. At the east end of the 3rd enclosure are cruciform galleries that delimit 4 small courtyards. Around it is a number of small sanctuaries. Carved panels show depictions of several Buddhist scenes. A scene from the Jataka Tales. One of them displays a scene from one of the Jataka Tales. It depicts Prince Vesantara pouring water in the hands of the Brahmin Jujuka after he gave away his 2 children to work as servants. Vesantara gave away everything he owned in order to practice the virtue of charity. Satellite temples. At the center of the north and south enclosure wall are satellite temples that were probably built later. The south temple contains several Buddhist scenes, including Buddha's great departure. It tells of the Gautama Buddha, who was born a prince named Siddhartha and lived in a palace until he was 29 years old. Siddhartha decided to leave the palace to live a life of abstinence and meditation in order to finally reach enlightenment. The Central Sanctuary. The Central Sanctuary is enclosed by galleries with a tower at each of its corners. The square central courtyard is 24 meters long. A single sanctuary tower is set in its center. The southeast corner of the courtyard contains a library building.